Well, hey guys, welcome to the channel, welcome to my stream, and welcome to another chapter working on that guy right there. That's our MPC 1969 Dodge Charger General Lee from the Dukes of Hazzard. We'll run the intro, we'll get started. Okay guys, we're back and we're continuing on and we're getting closer to the end. This is what now, episode 8 I think, episode 8 on this little build. And last time we got the car painted orange, right? So after doing that, after putting down some paint, I wet sanded it a little bit and I actually did another coat of orange on top of that. And then I put down the decals. And then after the decals were done, I put down a coat of clear, and the clear I used, of course, was this Alclad Aqua Gloss. This stuff here, well, Alcad 2 lacquer, Aqua Gloss clear. Straight out of the bottle, laid it down. It goes down. I'd say it sprays almost like water. It's nice and clear, and this is what we got. We've got a General Lee with the 01 on there. And yeah, she's looking good, except for the decal on the roof. I'll change the camera and you can see. I'll show you what I got going on here. This just sucks. Look at all those wrinkles in that decal. You guys see that? That is a horrible looking. It's just awful. And it did it on the 01 also, on the film in between the 0 and the 1. On this side. Now this side came out perfect. It's great. Nothing wrong with that one at all. And nothing wrong with the General Lee, the actual lettering, and no problem with our little flags on the back there. Those came out fine. But the top one, it wrinkled like crazy. So it is what it is. When this is sitting on the shelf and I'm looking at it from this far away, it looks fine. It's not until I actually look at it. Would you look at that?
Would you look at this?
It's not until I do that this shows up. So this is what happened. I did my normal process. I put the decal down, I got all the water out from underneath of it, and then I hit it with the Mark Fit Super Strong. I do that with every set of decals I have, and I haven't had any problems. Yes, what this stuff does is it shrinks the decal down, and which sucks it down so there's no air underneath of it. And then you'll notice it'll wrinkle up like crazy. But then as this stuff dries and cures overnight, you just let it sit and leave it alone, and it flattens it out, and it's fine. This one didn't do that. I've had every other decal. I've done big honking decals on, like, you know, not the F-22, on the Su-57, you know, on both of those. You get the big decals that go on the wings. No problem at all. But yeah, this one just didn't work. So, you know, I went on eBay and I got myself another Dodge Charger. I ordered the Revell one. This is MPC, of course. I ordered a Revell 69 Charger and another set of these decals. That'll be a future build. I got a different plan for that. So anyway, I'm just going to live with it. It's just the way it is. It doesn't look perfect, but it doesn't look horrible either. When I'm looking at it from, you know, certain angles, it looks fine. It looks just fine, right? Even under the camera, as long as I don't shine the light on it too much, it looks fine. So we're going to continue with this. So let's remove some of our masking tape, because this is all, we're all done with the painting of the body now. So, well, not really. We've got detail painting we need to do. But as far as the signature orange goes, she's done. So let's pull off our tape for the hood here. The hood, I think I'm just going to leave black on the underneath side. I don't think it's really going to matter. I don't think it's going to make any difference having the hood black on the underside, even with the overspray. And you can see, but this is why, that's why we mask off things, because my roof would have looked like that under there had I not masked. And so I'm happy that I masked. So we'll put our hood down over here. We're going to do the tail lights. So the other thing I did is I started on the tail lights. Okay, there's our tail lights. Let me change the camera and I'll show you here. So I painted our trim here in the back black. Of course, it doesn't want to focus. And then I took my chrome pen and I outlined the chrome around the tail light. And I got one lens in. I also did the little, it says charger, I think it's our charger RT in the text. And then I did a little dot there to mimic the trunk release, the trunk lock, okay? Because there is no actual molding on this. The other thing I did is I put on our gas cap. That just needs to be painted now, okay? Now, here's our other taillight lens. Let's get this off of here. These things are not really molded that spectacularly. Fortunately though, they just sit deep in the recess of that channel there. And so all we got to do is just make sure it fits in there nicely by getting rid of our nub and any kind of flashing that might be on this, because as I've discovered with this kit, there's all kinds of things that are really not that great about it. This kit, see, it fits in there, it's fine. So this is what I did before, is take my glue and I just go in the back here. And then drop my tail light lens in there, like that. A bit of a push. And now that's not perfect, but we can, now with the lens in there, we can do that. There, now she's in. Now she's all the way in. There we go. So, tail lights are in. Okay, tail light lenses, they're done. Okay, all right, that's done. So, I need to do chrome around the windows. I've got to do the chrome trim around here. And we got to do our chrome door handles also. So, I noticed on the actual Dodge Charger, you have a chrome trim that goes up here, goes all the way along here, comes all the way down, comes around, and then you've got the really wide chrome door seal. Goes all the way down there. But there is literally no molding at all here on this kit. And our lip here, I noticed this when I was sanding down this thing before getting ready for primer. There's really no trim. There's really no trim there. It's just a kind of a sharp edge, and there's nothing. It's kind of a, there's literally nothing. This side has a little tiny bit of a lip, but it's just so small. It's really nothing. So what do you do about that? Well, there's a couple of things. You could mask it and paint it. That would give you a nice sharp line. But I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to try some Hasegawa Tri-Tool mirror finish. I don't know what they call it. They just call it mirror finish. This stuff is, if you guys know, if you see bare metal finish, that stuff, this is very, very similar to that stuff. Like you can see, I've used it before, but I've only used this once. So this is kind of new to me. But as you can see, this is like, it's like chrome. Yeah, you can see my reflection in it there. Yeah. This stuff is similar to the bare metal finish, except this stuff is just I'd say it's a hair thicker, and it's a little bit stretchy. So it conforms to bends a little bit better than the bare metal finish. So I've got some already stripped off of here. I just wonder if my length is any good. Probably not. As I go like this around that, I don't think I'm going to get anywhere. No. So I'm going to have to cut a strip off this way to get the length I need. Okay. So what I want to do is actually just trim an edge off of here about the thickness that I want. Rather than putting it on there and then trimming, I want to trim it first. So I'm going to get myself a ruler. And that should be good enough. And I just want a very, very small amount. Just a very, very short edge. You know, we're talking like 1 millimeter width here. Now what's going to be easier to do as far as seeing it? I think doing it on this side is going to be easier for me to see for cutting. Just like that. Now, excuse me. I've got another X-Acto knife on my desk here that's going to have a bit of a sharper blade. Just because it hasn't been used so much. My normal one here, this one's been used quite a bit, so it's not quite so sharp. Which is why I'm doing this. So that looks about the thickness that I want. Maybe just a hair thinner. Yeah, something like that. That looks pretty good. Hold that down tight. Being careful, make multiple passes. I don't want to tear it. There we go. See, it's kind of come off of the thing, so I'm just going to cut this here. This knife is not sharp at all. You can almost, I'm not even cutting myself. What a stupid dull blade, what a piece of crap. No wonder it took so many passes to go through that. How about you? You gonna be better? Now that this has come off of the backing, it's probably just gonna fold on itself when I try and cut. Yeah, it's trimmed though, it's okay. Okay, so it's kind of stuck to my blade. Okay, let's change the camera so you can kind of see what I am doing here. And while I change my glasses too, so I can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so it's stuck to my blade, but we'll fix that. We've got our trim. I'm going to start from this edge here. And just put this down. Get a nice angle on it, so that's good. That's a good start. Get it to the spot I want. run it along this edge. I have had people, or I've read people say this stuff, just the whole bare metal foil thing just drives them nuts. And they can't be bothered with it. And I kind of understand why. You're basically just dealing with extremely tiny tape, really. Extremely tiny and thin tape. So as I bend it around this edge, work it with my finger, and guide it to conform to that curve. See, I missed the curve there. There we go. There we go. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to grab a Q-tip here just so I can kind of press down on that and rub that in. Get that in on that corner, on that edge. Guys use the term burnishing, so you burnish it down. To get it to conform. And that's not bad. That looks all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim it off right there, because the chrome that needs to be painted along this edge is really wide to get it to match this. So I'm just going to trim it right here. Let's give that a little cut and then pull that away. And there we have it. So now we've got chrome trim across the top of that door there, or across the roof, kind of the way it's supposed to be. And it might be a little bit thinner than what would be on the real car, but that's okay, because I'm going to get in there and I'm going to paint chrome in here, and it'll make it look thicker. Now this length I don't think is enough to go on this side. I don't think so. We're going to try. We're going to just have a look here. It's going to be close, I tell you. I tell you what. It is darn near perfect. Like within a millimeter of it. That is fluke of the century. Getting that to be the exact length I need. Wow. Wow. Okay, let's give that a little bit of a rub on there. All right. There we go. So we got chrome trim on both sides. Just like that. All right. So for the rest of this, the other windows, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to do a little bit of masking. I'm going to use my Tamiya vinyl masking tape. Tamiya calls it just tape, masking tape for curves, but really it's the same as any kind of 3M vinyl masking tape. And I'm going to go around, particularly I'm going to go across the top here with it, because I know this line here for the roof window trim is not a very hard defined line, and so I don't like that, and so I'm going to run it across there. And then I also want to run it along the door frame, along the door here. So let's find my edge. There we go. This stuff I like to cut with scissors. Cut that off. See, I got my front grille all done with the license plate on there. That's all done. She's ready to be installed. If you guys are curious about the decals, they are JBot decals by digidecals.com, so you can find those. I bought mine on eBay, so that works too. Or you can just go to their website, I guess. I just bought mine on eBay, so. Let's just line this up here. There we go. I like this stuff because you can, well, it bends nice. Alright. I don't need to go all the way to the edge. There we go. Now that's going to be a lot easier for me to paint a straight line there. The rear window trim, that's going to be a lot easier because, well, because look at it, that's a huge, nice, deep line in there. I could still run some along there if I really wanted to, but I don't need to. My confidence is high. Okay, about that much for the door. Now, the trim on this goes right to this edge like that. It's pretty insane how wide the trim is on these cars. I just want to get it kind of straight as we go all the way to the front. Like that. So even though it's going to get thin, it's going to thin out as we get down to here. That's fine. Just the fact that it's there is really what I want. And this will help me to get it in. I'm going to take the back end of my blade and go into the recess of our door trim, not our trim, our door separation. I really should use my fingernail. There we go. Just so that it doesn't bleed. Paint bleeding really sucks. Use my fingernail to get into that crease there, the same as on this side, right? Otherwise, paint could very easily go boink and get in there, and that sucks. So, I actually have this up a little too far on the front. So let's peel this off. There we go. That looks a little better. There, we want it to match this right there, right? So, that's done. Let's do this side. Once again right up to that trim level there. Let's bring this up forward. There we go. This also does reveal the unconformity of this mold in this kit, in how unlevel it is, how unsquare. It's just, yeah. This kit really is just not that great of a kit. I gotta say. I don't want to say it, but I got to. Like I said, I've ordered the Revell version of this car, and if it's anything like Dom's 1970 Charger that Revell makes, then I know it's going to be a pretty decent kit. Now my chrome trim has kind of pulled off of my edge here, so I kind of want to redo this. Let's see if I can pull this out. Just got pushed down underneath there, so let's just burnish this down onto there again. There we go. Okay, so what am I going to be painting the chrome with? Well, I'm going to be using that same stuff I used already. I'm going to use this, the Fusion Firm Fluid Silver Foil. I'm going to be using that stuff you can buy on eBay. Comes with 2 bottles. You get your chrome, and you get some clear coating, protective lacquer. They've got on here gold plating, but it's clear. So they do make one that comes with gold also. So that's this stuff I'm going to be using here. I'm not going to be using the brush that is in this. I'm just going to use my own little brush, just because it can get a little bit finer on it. Shake this up. And kind of use this brush to put paint on my brush. And I'll just leave that like that. And let's get painting. Kind of use the lid to dip it in. Now this stuff, this is kind of like, oops, this stuff is similar to what you call it, what do you call that stuff? Molotow. The Molotow chrome. This stuff is similar in that it likes to go on a little thick. If you go thin with it, it doesn't really do the job. So don't be afraid to put it on thick. There we go. Of course, in doing so, you gotta make sure you get the leading edge too. Otherwise you lose that whole illusion. Now this edge I could actually use the brush. The molding on these is absolutely horrible. It's barely even recognizable as a light lens, but we'll get that. And there are no reverse lights on this car, but that's that. Okay, let's put this aside for a sec, and let's grab our hood, because this car's got hood pins, even though the General Lee never did have them. At least I don't think so. I really don't know. I don't remember. I do know the General Lee is supposed to be a NASCAR, like that was their aspirations or whatever. But, yeah. Okay. That is that. I'm going to put this back together and close that. And I'm going to clean my brush. Let's put the hood over here. Let's clean my brush real quick. Some nice fresh thinner in the container. Fresh brand new thinner. Look at that, brand new. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so let's put this away. And let's pull the tape off and see how good or bad I did with this. See if we got any seepage at all. I got a little bit right there. But our driver's side is perfect. Driver's side looks good. But I got a little bit right there. So let's try. Let's get a Q-tip. I'm not sure what paint I could use or what thinner I could use. Yeah, see, it kind of ate my orange a little bit, so I got a little bit of a blemish there. And then that sucks because, you know, I was planning on taking pictures of more of the passenger side because of my wrinkles on my decal here on the number one. on the driver's side, and then now my passenger side has that blemish there. But our roof one looks good. Roof looks good. Okay. So that is done. Our body is painted up nicely. Let's make sure I've got no chrome on my fingers now. Now, the actual blades, the wiper blade blades, not the arms, but the blades, they need some love. So I'm going to use actually some rubber black. LP65 to me up. Okay. Let's get in here and let's paint these things. Go. And now this one. Yeah, I'm going to leave the arms chrome, but realistically, the blade should be black. Okay, there we go. Anything else I need to do? Oh, I need to put our mirror on. We got a side view mirror that needs to go on. And the CB antenna needs to go on. Those need installation. But before we do that, we're going to save that for last, okay? Those are the two little details that need to go on last. We should be able to get our rear bumper in here now. Remember, I painted the bumpers up. The bumpers are all good to go. So this should fit in here. Should fit in here. Remember, this was I had to do a lot of work to get this to even just sit in its channel properly. There we go. So one side, two. There we go. She's in. Okay, bumper's in. So now I need to glue it. Let's get some glue. You have to be careful every spot that every time I grab this thing now, I gotta be careful about touching the door handles. Isn't that funny? Put the glue on there. Glue acts like a bit of a lubricant and the bumper pops off. That's wonderful. Get in your home. And of course, touching it with glue on it. Gonna hold now. There we go. Okay. Like I mentioned before a couple of times now, this build is not all that great. And so the fitment of everything is not all that great. this guy goes in here like this. There's not a lot of spots that it's going to be making connection. It's just a terrible fit. That's how the front's going to sit. A couple little different spots where it looks like it's making contact, but it's hard to tell really. Looks like it's contacting here and here. The side of the bumper there, the tip. This side fits in flush, this side doesn't sit in at all. Not flush anyway. And yet it's flush against here, this is flush in there. Just a lot of spots that it doesn't look all that great. But that's that, and our rear bumper popped out again. I'm going to try my Tamiya quick type. Go in right in there where it's connecting here. See if that works. And trying to convince this to stay in there. Dropping it and then touching chrome parts, freshly painted chrome is not what I wanted to do. Okay, we'll see if that holds this time. Our rear license plate, I'm skeptical that it's going to fit in those two holes. I am skeptical. I have the rear license plate right here. Now this one I had to do before putting the decal on it. It had molded into it the word charger. And so I had to file that down with my file in there. I just took my file, just took this, and I just went in there with it like this and just filed it down until it was smooth. And then I could put our actual proper decal on there. Our bumper's not wanting to stay, keeps on wanting to come out. This side's fine. This side is just being a pain. So there's two little tabs on the back of the license plate that's supposed to line. Whoa, look at that! It lines up. Holy crap! It lines up. I was not expecting that at all. I was not expecting it to line up. I don't know why. I just was not expecting that to line up. Put it on the bumper as well. She fits perfect. Hey? She fits pretty good. Now that the bumper's finally staying in place. Okay. All right. So, next, windows. This car does have windows actually. We just got to dig them out. Let me put my chrome away first. This stuff, if you guys are finding it hard to find, I got this stuff on eBay. Or not eBay, I got it on Amazon actually. There's a seller on Amazon that sells this, and so that was handy since Amazon delivers everything. So we got windshield and we got rear window in a bag here. Let's get these out of here. This is starting to feel like she's going to be done today, guys. Maybe I will. Let's just finish it today. Why not? I'm not trimming right at the glass. I'm leaving about, a millimeter or so, half a millimeter off, just so that I don't stress the plastic. You see how I've left that little bit of a trim on the edge there? Okay. So just so you know, be careful when you're trimming these really wide things, because if I trim right about, there's a chance I could crack the plastic, and I don't want to crack the windshield. So leave that little bit of an edge, that little bit of a lip right there in the center, right there. Just leave that, and you can file that down. Just work at it. File it down slowly until you get it smooth. Until you get to your edge. Okay. And there you go. Nicely done. Okay, I'll do the same with the rear window. And there we go. Rear window done. Now this one has a little bit of a curve. As I learned from John Schneider, the window should be concave, not convex. Okay? So the window should bubble out just a hair. Let's flip this over. They got two little pegs here to help you line it up. Just like that. Now the actual window is big enough to give you lots of extra. So I'm going to use my extra thin and just touch the edges of it. And the capillary action will have it run all the way around the edge. I won't have to worry about it. Just like that. And done. Just like that. Rear window's in perfect. I'm touching the door handle. I don't like that. Because touching the door handle and then touching the body, you get little schmutz of chrome in spots like that. And I'm probably going to have those all over this body by the time I'm done. But that's my own fault. I got nobody to blame but myself for that. Okay, let's see how our windshield drops in. We got lots of window at the front leading edge, but I want to have the quarter windows covered. So that's where she's going to sit, and I'm going to put glue right there at this corner. Perfect. And this corner. Perfect. One along the roof. Perfect. This corner maybe. Yep. see it just wicks down in there. That one did not. So I got a glue spot there, but I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to let that sit. I got a glue spot because I went over the top with my brush. Instead of going here like this, I accidentally went above and I went and touched right in there. And that sucks. But there's nothing I can do about it. This model's already not perfect. But you know what, guys? I let you see all the problems I have. I let you see all the blemishes, all the problems, everything. You get to see it all. I don't hide anything. So whatever problems I have, I want you to see so you can learn, and then you know how to deal with the problems. Or in this case, it's, you know, it's not the model's fault I did that. Okay. Getting the interior in there, we still have that big gap, and I really hate that. I want to have the interior far enough forward that that gap is gone, pretty much right like that. I'm basically lining it up with my thumb right at the front of the engine bay. And do that. And let's see, that's got a big gap there. It kind of hides my blemish because it's a black spot. If I bring it forward, it's good. I just don't know if with the chassis how far forward this will sit. I'd like it to sit exactly right there, but I don't know if the chassis allows that. I'm going to do a little test fit here with our chassis. If I drop this in like that, see the interior's kind of pushed back now. If I do that, yeah, she's even fit a little bit forward, but that's okay because our firewall still has to go in here. Don't forget about this guy. That's got to go in. It's got to go in right down in there. Kind of thing, like that. I'm going to be able to do that. That's going to be great. This gap really sucks. That's so stupid. But whatever. Yeah, so that's going to work. That's going to work, guys. Let's get this out of here. Get this out of here. All right, so with this forward, just like that, just enough that that's hidden, like that. No, you stay. I'm not sure where we're making contact here at the front. It kind of feels like the dash is touching. It feels like the front of the dash is hitting the windshield now. That's what it feels like. So I'm going to put a little dab of glue there, here on the front. Just because that's where it feels like it's hitting. I feel like I've got contact there. Okay. All the way forward, as far forward as you can, right there. And I'm going to put some extra thin. Actually, I'm going to use this. and extra thin to get underneath. Extra thin's capillary action should help me out here. And hold that in spot. Now our firewall is going to sit up here like this. And I'm actually going to glue it right to the top. Up in here. Or I'm just going to drop it on the floor. Let's get it centered. There we go. Okay, and with that we can put our chassis in. Actually, not quite yet. Not quite yet. Let's just give this a minute. You say, why not yet? Well, my extra little spacers I did to put the rad forward, I gotta paint those. So we gotta get some paint on this. Let's quickly just add a little bit of paint in here to hide those white spots. There we go. There. No, they'll be hidden. Might as well do this side too, just in case. I don't know if you'll ever see this part, but if you do, you're gonna see black, so that's good. There we go. The sun is coming out. It's coming out and it's in my face. Clean my brush yet again. This build is almost done, guys. We're almost finished. Almost done. Almost done. I can smell it. It's not the paint thinner. Okay. Chassis, in you go. Drop in. We're in. We're not glued in, but we're in. Okay, so there are a couple of spots. These 4 little pegs that stick down, I know they contact the bottom of the interior bucket, so let's just go doink, 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 and doink. Now, these 2 great big honking ejector pins, they might touch something, I don't know. I don't think so. Looking at the crater in the back in the trunk, I know they don't touch anything. Okay. We are together. We are together, guys. my interior bucket seems to have slid back somehow, and so I've got that gap showing there again, which sucks, but it is what it is. There's not much I can do about it now. I've got my two little heater hoses here I need to put in. So I want to put them here because I'm left-handed. I've drilled two little holes in the firewall here to put my heater hoses. It's just now everything's black, it's a little hard to see. There we go. There's one. I almost need a flashlight to see my holes. There it is. Okay, heater hoses are in. There we go. Okay, we need a side view mirror and we need the sun out of my face. The last two things. I need some CA glue because these parts are made out of resin. Because you know this kit didn't come with a side view mirror. Thank you very much, MPC. Because you know, yeah, just because you know. So as you guys remember, I 3D printed my side view mirrors because this kit doesn't come with any. If it'll focus, you can see them. I'm going to do this one, the one on the left. So let's get this off of here. That was wonderful. Where did that go? Did that go in the engine compartment? No, it fell through. Yay, thank you, Lord. Okay. So, I need tweezers to hold on to this guy. He's going to go... Let's move this out of the way here. He's going to go right there. Okay. So, a little bit of glue on the bottom of him. And right there. Nice. Perfect. Okay, let's go to mirror. Now, this guy here, this is our CB antenna. Also 3D printed, and I painted black. And he's going to go right here. Just like that. Or should he go on the actual trunk? No, I believe it goes here. I believe it goes like that. Let me take a look at a picture. I just want to make sure. Let me see if I got a picture of where that goes. I do not have a picture of the back end of the car like that. Oh well, that's the way it goes. I'm gonna guess, and it's gonna go right there, and not here. I don't think it goes on the actual trunk. Okay, just hold on a sec. I need to Google this. I need to Google this. big picture here. Let me see. It's on the trunk. It is on the trunk. It goes on the trunk. Okay, so it goes just right exactly where I got it sitting right now. Let's just do this. There we go. Okay. Now, one last little detail. One last little detail is my air horns. Remember, I printed these out and I painted them, and they've been sitting patiently waiting to be put in this car. So let's just get these off of the trees here. Let's just break this off. Hopefully get these off of here without breaking them. There we go. 4 little air horns. And I'm just going to put them right down on the firewall there, or on the fender well, I mean. I already know they go in roughly this spot here. From what I've seen in real life cars. And that is it, guys. She's done. All things put together. Except for a hood. We gotta put our hood on. And the hood fits, in spite of my big honking engine. And that, guys, we're going to call done. Could I take a piece of really thin wire and put it in there as an antenna? I could. Would that make it so that I could potentially break it off later? Definitely. Most definitely. But our General Lee is done. Done. That is it. Okay? Done. She's got dirty tires. She's not perfect. Now, if I really wanted to get some realism in there, I could put some dirt along the bottom of the car. Maybe I'm just going to do that right now. I'm going to get some pigment. I'm going to break out the pigment just to get a little bit more diorama realism on here. Get some brown earth, grab that brush again. And we'll put a little bit of dirt along the bottom of our General Lee. Yeah. Just because. Because our General Lee, our girl gets dirty. Our girl gets dirty. Now it's the oops, hood. It is subtle. The dirt effect is subtle. Okay, it's not like, oh look, you just ruined it. No. It's subtle, guys. Calm down. It's subtle. The dirt is subtle. But, you know, it's like at the same time, you know, the car has been run in the dirt, as subtle as it is. Done. She's not somebody's, she's not just anybody's 69 Charger. This is Dukes of Hazzard car in Hazzard County. There it is. I got myself a General Lee now. Just like that. Now, my impression of this kit, yeah, it's not bad. And somebody with a little more skill than me can make this look even better. But would I recommend this to somebody who doesn't really have a lot of skill? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't recommend the MPC kit. I would say buy the Revell kit because it's going to look a little better. It's going to go together a little bit cleaner. The lines are a little bit cleaner, and you know, you're not going to have to add things to make it complete, such as the side view mirror. There's no rear view mirror in this car either. I just didn't bother building one. The roll cage. The roll cage doesn't even go quite all the way to the roof. It's a little bit low. It doesn't really matter though. That's just a minor detail. The fact you do get the roll cage in this, yeah, your Revell kit's not going to have the roll cage. At least I don't think so. It might. I don't know. I don't have it yet, so I don't know. We'll find out. It's not bad. It's not a bad kit, but it's not the best kit either. Yeah. You just want to have a General Lee and you want it to look like that? Well, there you go. That's what I got. So what I'll do is I'll take some pictures of it and put it up on my Instagram. You guys know the deal. The hood does not sit level, and when I do put it level, there's a big gap, so that kind of looks dumb. There's not much I can do about it really, except I do want to paint the front. I need to paint the front of the hood because it's looking black. Let me change the camera just so you can see what I'm talking about. If you look at the very front edge of the hood, the front edge of the hood is black, while the rest, the surround, the fenders are orange. So I got to do the front lip, the front tip of that hood. Okay. But yeah, that's it. She's done, guys. She's done. This project done. Yay. Okay. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for joining me on this and following me along, or following along with me, following me, whatever. Speaking of which, if you haven't subscribed yet, down in that corner is the subscribe button. I would really appreciate that. And also hit the like button and leave comments. It's been a while. I haven't heard any comments, seen any comments recently. I love to read your comments, guys. And you guys know who do comment, you know I reply. So yeah, ask me anything. Let me know what you think. For that, we're going to leave it now, and that's going to be it for this. Like I said, down in the description box will be some links to my other things, such as my Twitch channel, my Instagram, my X channel. You can check those out. Now that I've finished this, I will take some still pictures of it and upload it onto my Instagram, so you guys can check those out if you feel like it. As I do with every project, I take some pictures and put it on my Instagram, so check those out if you feel like it. I want to thank you guys again, and we'll see you all in the next one. Oh yeah, Merry Christmas. It's almost Christmas time.